Today's game features the USF Bulls and your SMU Mustangs. At this time, we ask that you stand as we pay honor to America with the playing of our national anthem, performed today by the Mustang Band.
We're kicking off our weekend with women's basketball in the American. Welcome to Dallas, Texas, as the Mustangs of SMU welcome the Bulls of USF to town. Inside Moody Coliseum, about to get underway today on the American Digital Network. First meeting of the two teams here in conference play this year. Take a look at where they stand in the standings right now. SMU at 1-5. The Bulls with some injuries plaguing their campaign so far. A slow start at 2-3. One of them will have a chance to climb the table by the end of the day. Of course, UConn and UCF, your two unbeatens. They meet tomorrow. Only one team with a chance to improve to 7-0. On that note, we welcome you courtside. Lincoln Rose along with Angela Beck. And Coach, we take a look at this meeting. Of course, SMU just got done playing UConn and UCF, the top two teams, and now they're playing a team that is traditionally in that championship in March in the American, the Bulls of USF.
Well, this looks to be a pretty even contest. Both teams are trying to get into the middle of the pack of the conference. It's a very important matchup. Both teams are great rebounding teams. Which team can get some steals and go into transition and possibly hit the three ball tonight will be a big key.
We're going to see a youth movement on display in this one for both squads. For USF, how do they pick up the road win here today?
Well, we talked about shooting the three ball, but they've been dominating the board like no other team and offensively. So, and then they have to defend the post game of SMU.
Conversely, for Travis Mays' group, how do they find a home win?
Well, obviously keep USF off the glass, establish that post game, and limit their turnovers. They've been averaging about 20 a game.
Well, the Bulls, again, it's all about next woman up. They've had some injuries, but Tamara Henshaw, the junior, good to go, as she's been putting up some solid numbers now in her junior campaign.
Well, it doesn't look like much with the 5.2, but she's been scoring some double-doubles here late. In the conference, she has been coming up big. She scored a double-double against UConn, so look for her to show up and be big for them today.
And, of course, for the past 5 years now, the name Froling has been synonymous with SMU women's basketball. The senior trying to go out on a high note. She's already claimed some career records in the Ponies' history already.
Well, yes, in rebounding and scoring, the only woman in the history to score 1,000 points in rebounding and scoring. But having said that, people don't think she's had a great year. She's had 9 double-doubles this year, so she's been doing some great things. It just gets how many touches she gets here this afternoon will be the big key.
SMU and USF, a Saturday afternoon clash in Dallas when we come back.
I was the last person anybody's thinking is going to be in college athletics. One thing I really valued about my SMU experience was being in engineering school. I was taught how to think. In 2012, my wife and I decided to start our foundation. Basically, the goal is to let kids be kids while they're in the hospital, but also be able to return to being a kid when they're done. A huge part of my quality of life is the experiences that I've had, and that was all provided by SMU. I'm Thomas Morstead. Game changers are shaped here.
Introductions underway inside Moody Coliseum as the Mustangs welcome the Bulls at USF for this Saturday afternoon meeting. in the American. We take a look at our starting five for both squads. For Travis Mays, a pair of freshmen in the starting lineup, Marie Olson and Kayla White. Kayla, of course, from right here in the Dallas area, averaging right around 12 points per ball game in her freshman campaign here at the college level.
Yeah, she's...
Let's check in with Austin Ivan.
Thanks, Lincoln. USF has had 9 different starting lineups this year due to injuries. Head coach Jose Fernandez called his team a melting pot right now because they only have 8 healthy players. But he said their mentality is next man up. For SMU, they're not changing their game plan at all today. They're going to stick to their principle, defense, zone defense, as they get ready for the game today. Hey fans, also let us know where you're watching this game from today. We want to know where you're at and who you're cheering for. Lincoln, I'll send it back to you.
Austin, thank you. There you see Jose Fernandez. You know, we talked about all the injuries, a few illnesses. He himself getting over an illness of his own, flu-like symptoms last week. It just seemed like they could not catch a break. But the Bulls have been able to find some success looking for a road win. This is the 11th all-time meeting between these two programs. The last 9 have come since being in the same conference in the American. SMU has yet to beat the Bulls in this short rivalry.
I like what I'm seeing so far with SMU going with a double post offense, having 3 big girls in there to stretch the defense.
A 17-footer off the mark early on from Marie Olson. We mentioned the freshman out of California gets the starting nod today. USF is a team that rebounds so well. It's not just their big players. Every single individual is expected to go out there and fight for rebounds. Haley Outen at the American had a great conversation with Sydney Harvey during the week. In fact, that's on the American's Twitter feed now, as Sydney was talking about all things the freshman experience as a Bull, including the rebounding mentality for USF, as Mustangs get a defensive board of their own, looking for the opening advantage here at home.
Well, it went into Cash, and Cash has been big in the last couple games. She needs to be big here today. She's coming off a double-double. When she plays big, they have a chance. So that I like them going into her early, and then I like the fact that they've got Froling at that high post.
Of course, USF, such an international flair over the years under head coach Jose Fernandez, who's wrapping up his 2nd decade at the helm, and he's found a lot of great talent. That includes Luisa Septe, who joined right before New Year's Eve, mid-season through, the freshman out of Latvia. But the Bulls with more international players than local players. They only have 1 active player from the state of Florida on their roster this year, believe it or not. And SMU able to find the opening 2 points from Kayla White.
Well, Kayla White, if she's inbound, she's probably going to shoot it. She fires up threes like no other. But, you know, good rebound and put back by her.
Septe, similar shot as last trip down, off the mark. This time the offensive rebound for the Bulls, who are simply, again, dominating opponents in the rebounding margin this year. One of the top teams in America. Trying to split the defense, can't get the angle. And another offensive rebound brought in by Tamara Henshaw.
Well,
and concern here as Cash holding that right knee.
Oh, that's not good. Looks like 3 players went down. And
again, that's John Asia Cash, the sophomore out of Pennsylvania. Really started to hit her stride near the end of last year. Travis Mays has wanted her to be more and more aggressive, but she goes down quickly.
Well, what you can hope for is maybe that she hyperextended it a little bit when the player fell. Here she is, and then her teammate and 2 people kind of fell on that knee, and I do think she might have hyperextended it. Hopefully she didn't injure an ACL or something like that.
So 7:47 to go here in the opening half. SMU with the early score.
Well, I knew for a fact that both of these teams are great rebounding teams, and it was going to be a very physical battle. It's not always going to be pretty today, but it's going to be something where you're going to see a lot of bodies on the floor and a lot of people fighting for boards.
Folks, that is a good sign right there. Again, you can understand the tears because that is scary. In your own head, you start speculating what your own ailment might be.
Well, anytime 2 people fall on your leg and you hyperextend it, it's a scary moment because it's your career. But and she's only a sophomore.
Jose Fernandez talking to Anna Bahajic, his Denmark native, sophomore on the bench at the moment. We saw Coach Fernandez's group play just really 7 players the other day against Tulane, and they had a dominant outing.
Yeah, we kind of wondered, would they, maybe get tired, but there was no tire in them. Of course, when you hit 3-pointers like they were hitting them in that game, it gives you a lot of energy.
And call it kickball by Whitfield. Coach Fernandez, 8 WNITs, 6 NCAA tournaments, including the last 4 years with USF. Of course, they have collided with UConn the past several seasons in that championship game in the American. Last year, knocked off their rival UCF to get back into that championship game. This year, a rare loss to the Knights of UCF, who are red hot at the moment. And the Bulls will take their opening advantage. Septe had missed her first 2, but that time the freshman able to connect.
Yeah, Septe shooting 1 for 8 from 3-point range. But then a good counter there by Olsen on the other side. They've liked what she's done lately for them, and they've inserted her.
Well, talk about 2 unlikely sources of the 3-ball. Both had been slow starters this year from downtown, and each able to connect as they trade shots from beyond the arc.
Well, I had a feeling that the 3-ball was going to be rocked and fired tonight. This is both guard-oriented offenses on Fernandez's side, USF. They run a lot of sets, and on the other side, it's a little bit more freelance.
SMU up by a pair. They're without their starter, John Asia Cash, on the floor right now. We'll try to get an update soon. And a whistle keeps it on this end as White able to get the bucket. And the whistle.
Well, one of the things they wanted to do was take it to the basket a little bit more aggressively. And that was a good take by White.
And again, with more on John Asia Cash, here's Austin.
Thanks, Lincoln. Yeah, you said John Asia Cass was just hitting her stride, and she has these past 2 games because Amber Bacon has been out with a knee injury. We just saw her go down and holding her right knee. She ran off the court and was back behind talking to the trainer. She jogged for a second, gave the nod to head coach Travis Mage, and said she's ready to go back in now.
Austin, thank you. That is great news for SMU. Amber Bacon, yet another one of these freshmen. You're not going to hear any shortage of references to freshmen when we talk about SMU. They have 7 this year. That's only fewer than Wichita State in the American, and in fact, only Florida Atlantic and Wichita State have more in the country. SMU's average age is 19. They were born right about the same time Jose Fernandez took the job in Tampa. Froling, all-time career leader in rebounds and block shots for SMU. That one off the mark out of the left hand. Septe the other way. Able to feed it into the lane and just can't hit the layup. Pahajic off the mark, and Froling with the rebound.
A great job of Froling running the floor from one end to the other and getting another defensive rebound.
A little hesitation, they'll say an offensive foul from Whitfield.
Well, you have to understand, USF's defense built around their defense, that man-to-man fundamental defense that he requires all of his players to play. But surprisingly, SMU's come out with a little man-to-man of their own, and it's been quite effective. Now they're switching to a zone, so running some combinations, hoping to throw them off a little bit.
Bulls have hit just 1 of their 7 shots from the floor. That was Septe's 3. Here's a 15-footer on the mark. And is able to drain that one. Sydney Harvey, the pride of Nashville, enjoying her new lifestyle in USF. Says a little bit warmer this time of year. And for Travis Mays in year 3, the former Texas Longhorn and NBA veteran. Been a long-time assistant. Finally found the job he wanted for his first head coaching gig in Dallas 3 years ago. He's surrounded himself by a great staff. Froling, they'll double down on her. That means her teammates have to make shots to help her out. That one off the mark from Mackenzie Ellis.
Yeah, he's just starting to bring in his own players. You know, there's still a few players from that last dynasty that was before him, and one of them is Froling. So he's getting his kind of kids, that he's going to develop, and he's doing a great job with the ones he's had.
Little international incident there. Septe from Latvia called for the charge as Froling, the Australian, able to step in defensively.
Well, so far Froling's looking good for them, and she's a little more active than what I've seen in the last couple games from them. So that's a good sign for SMU.
Jose Fernandez, the all-time winningest coach in Bulls history. Last year they fell to UConn in the final, would go on to the NCAA tournament with an at-large, as they would go to the Tallahassee Regional against first-round opponent Buffalo. White left her feet, able to find her teammate on the adjustment, give White the assist, and the first 2 points for her sister, Jakia White, and the family has to be so proud how those two are willing to share.
Well, that looked really nice, like they knew each other quite well with that dribble penetration, and then I like the way Jakia took it to the hole.
I said sisters, cousins. They did play together in high school at DeSoto. A nice open look just off the front of the iron, off the mark from Harvey. Froling among 3 Bulls. And the offensive rebound came down to Bahajic, but SMU strips it right back, cannot take advantage of the second chance opportunity. USF down by 3, back within 1.
Well, that's a nice little stretch there for USF, getting that second rebound. Froling, when she gets it, she's going on a direct line, but she just needs to take her time. She's rushed the last couple shots.
A long 2, in and out. Won't go for Whitfield.
I like the pace of the game. I think it's a good pace for both teams.
Septe. Right now it's just been she and Pahajic. Finally a third Bull getting involved, and it'll pay off. Tamara Henshaw, the junior. That's your one Florida homegrown product in the Sunshine State on the USF roster this year.
Well, Kayla White had a freshman error on that play. She was standing straight up and lost her man, so she's got to shore up her defense a little bit.
Bulls have their second lead early on here. From the corner. And we talk about offensive rebound on display there from Henshaw, the putback for 2.
Yeah, 12.7 more boards than their opponent. That's quite an advantage. Although you have a good defensive rebounding team in SMU, but not as great of an offensive rebounding team.
A little 6-0 run here for USF. SMU hasn't scored in about 2.5 minutes. You talk about offensive rebounding. Obviously, if you're having a poor shooting outing, that can still help you out, get you some additional looks. SMU pulling back within 1.
Well, that was White again, and she just likes to pull the trigger, and it's good for her team because someone has to.
White 2 of 4 from the floor, and the offensive rebound to boot for Kayla.
Pretty clean played game thus far. Not many people to the line.
Again, USF finds itself in a situation they haven't been in recent years. Right now, a losing mark, 5 games into conference play. But it's certainly understandable with the slew of talent unavailable to Jose Fernandez this year. Some knee injuries, among other ailments. I mean, you're without Kitty Aloxa, who has given you 16 points per game earlier this year. Along with Beatriz Jordal, a standout freshman from Portugal, also averaging double digits, out with a stress fracture. And not to mention Laura Ferreira, the senior from Portugal, who was also putting up 16 points per outing in her senior campaign. Bulls right now up by 1 with about 1.5 minutes to go here in the opening quarter. Gives us a chance to check back in courtside with Austin.
Thanks, Lincoln. Well, we want to welcome you into the broadcast. If you're just now joining us as SMU hosts USF, we want everyone to be interactive who's watching this game today. So let us know where you're at and who you're cheering from. We love seeing where everyone's at and who they're cheering from. So let us know in the comments below so we can see.
Austin, thank you. Great thing here on the American Digital Network. For those of you tuning in on Facebook, feel free to chime in throughout the afternoon. Right now, USF on the road. We're going to pull to 500 in conference play.
At the American, we know that power isn't for the faint of heart. Power is reserved for the go-getters, the team players, and those who are hungry for victory. We know power because we are power. Join us for the 2019 American Athletic Conference Women's Basketball Championship, March 8th through the 11th at the Mohegan Sun Arena in Uncasville, Connecticut. More than 7,000 student athletes rising to become champions in 22 different sports at 13 esteemed institutions across 11 states. 360,000 students and 2.6 million alumni rise up in celebration of a Power Six conference known as the American, powered by determination.
Scores!
3 strikeouts in a row.
Dominance for a 4th straight year. Cueto from 30!
Unbelievable. And be able to celebrate this type of championship.
There's the record breaker. They are the champions of the American.
Right now, USF up by 1, battling back here in this opening quarter. Still plenty of time remaining here today in Dallas. Again, we take a look at the standings this weekend, or pardon me, I should say, back on Wednesday. You and I saw back in Greenville, ECU almost pull off the upset against UCF, but Coach Abe's squad survives. They are 6-0. They will meet UConn tomorrow on ESPN2.
Yeah, what's interesting, there's a lot of people in the middle of the pack there, and you know, ECU and SMU are only just one game out of being in the middle of the pack, so it's still early. This is obviously a pivotal game. It's been a while since SMU got on the board. They have one win, so this is they need to put everything on the floor. Like nothing should be left, and I'm sure that's what Coach has talked about.
And Cincinnati again sits 3rd at the moment. New arena, new head coach, and a great time to be a basketball fan up there in Ohio.
Well, it's good when you don't know what you don't know, and she doesn't know, you know, the conference and what it feels like in each arena, but that's kind of sometimes fun because you have no history.
Lincoln Rose, Angela Beck with you. Austin Ivan on the sidelines. And there's another trademark offensive rebound for USF here today, as those 2 points courtesy of Shea Leverett.
I'm impressed with Leverett. She's been everywhere. She's been heavy on the boards, and she's just been communicating. You can show she's got a lot of intensity.
Your 6'2" sophomore post player seeing more time with Beatrice Jordan out. And this will go back over to USF.
Well, already USF has 11 boards to 7 boards, and so they're +4 on the rebound total, and that's not a good sign. You know, SMU needs to shore up the rebounding, especially on this defensive end.
Cash back on the floor. Again, a great sign after we saw her go down earlier with her own teammate rolling up into her knee. Whitfield. A tad long, Cash denied. And sending that one out, Shea Leverett with the rejection. Pinzon will hold it for the final look here in the opening quarter. A chance to go up 2 scores. That one won't fall. It'll be a 3-point affair when we come back for the start of the second quarter. USF on the road today, colliding with the Mustangs. Bulls have never lost to SMU in their first 10 meetings.
This is our game, our moment, our time. We work hard and play harder. We stay loyal to the game and to our team. We are power, American power. The American, powered by determination.
Powerful minds, strong in mind, strong in body. The American is dedicated to promoting success
through a healthy, powerful mind.
If it is okay to seek help
for injuries we can see, then it needs to be okay
to seek help for injuries
we can't see.
Mental health awareness is important because I think a lot of times it goes unnoticed in college athletics.
We look after our bodies, and it's just as important to look after our mental health.
It's time to end the stigma
related to mental health
and seeking help. End the stigma.
Power comes in all forms.
Power is a big tackle, a big save, a clutch hit,
or a game-winning shot.
Power is also standing up for what is right.
There is power in the sportsmanship that is displayed across the American.
Power is respecting opponents,
officials,
student athletes,
coaches, and team representatives.
Power is not tolerating racial or ethnic comments,
profanities, or other improper actions while at the game.
The American.
Power for life.
The American. Power for life.
The American. Power for life.
Back inside Moody Coliseum, 1 quarter in the book. Bulls defense able to shut down the Mustangs for the final 2.5 minutes there and grab a 3-point advantage along the way. Check back in with Austin Ivan here right before the second quarter begins.
Thanks, Lincoln. Well, we saw Jonasia Cash go down with that knee injury earlier in the first quarter, but she's back and she's ready to go. She's helped the Mustangs all season long as she's been a key contributor, averaging 7 rebounds a game and 5.5 points per game. But did you know she's not the only athlete in her family? Our trivia question to you is, who is her famous relative? Let us know in the comments below if you know who she is related to that's famous.
And while I'm sure everybody in her family is special, I think there's one particular that individual who has something to do with the sport of basketball at the professional level that Austin and our trivia makers are alluding to. I think most of our viewers from around Texas certainly know the answer. See if some of our friends over in the Sunshine State are familiar with the ties. Second quarter underway, 3-point advantage for USF as we get started with a fresh 10-minute period. Septe mentioned she joined the Bulls back in December, and that was a key addition. All of a sudden finds herself in the starting lineup. The Bulls can't come away with points there as Pahajic off the mark.
Yeah, good rebound by Cash there, and Cash in conference play is leading the conference in rebounding at 9.2 rebounds per game in conference play. So she's big on the boards. She's been averaging 8.7 points in conference play, much better than what she's done in the regular season.
Froling is not on the floor right now for SMU. That means it's time for Cash to check in with her game, and right on the money within one.
Well, she doesn't seem to be favoring anything right now, so that's a good sign, and she looks like she's got a little spark in her tank.
We do have an unofficial policy. There must always be an Australian on the court for SMU, so the freshman is on right now, Paige Bayless. And that ball comes down to Bayless, but a whistle on the baseline. Yeah, obviously the game plan, because Alicia Froling had such a breakout freshman year, followed it up with a great sophomore campaign, junior campaign last year out with the knee injury. She is your top 3 priorities if you're the opposing defense, of slowing her down and making another SMU Mustang step up. And Cash as well as Kayla White are often those candidates.
Yeah, I think also if you think about the players that were used to be on the team, she had some seasoned guards that were able to get her passes in variety of ways. And now it's taking a younger team, one of the youngest teams in the country, time to develop that. I've noticed an improvement by Kayla White with the bounce feed into her several times. So it's coming. It's a work in progress, but and like you said, they are attempting to do that.
Cash with the rebound after Leverett was 0 for 2 that trip to the charity strike. And on the offensive end, Cash with another board. Now she has her first shot blocked from Leverett. It's back to Cash. Third time a charm for SMU. John-Asia Cash gets the Mustangs back on top.
Well, that helps your rebound total. That was 3 rebounds for her. Just tossed it over to herself, got it, tossed it to herself, got it, and put it back. So, yeah, that was a great series for her.
Point guards don't get to pad their assist total.
You might as well pass it to yourself.
And that one well off the mark. And fighting for the rebound, and the aggression will lead to a defensive foul that time, or a loose ball foul, I should say, on Tamara Hinshaw.
Well, the game that we were able to see USF beat Tulane on their floor by, I think, about 26 points or something like that.
It was a head turner.
They shot the 3 ball so well, and this afternoon so far, they have not shot it too well. So that's going to be a big key on it. If they can get that 3 ball going, it's going to be a difficult game.
Yeah, 5 different Bulls have attempted the 3. They're combined 1 for 9 so far. SMU goes 0 for 1 that trip down. The rebound to Septe. Oh, the no-look pass where the person you're passing it to wasn't looking.
Exactly. That's unusual for them. They usually take care of the basketball pretty well. Their totals for just having a bunch of people that never played together has been pretty good. I mean, I think there's 16 turnovers a game, and that's not bad for this team.
You just think of all the different languages in that huddle for USF. Long 2 straight away. Tad Strong off the iron from White. Back the other way, Harvey. Able to rip it away from Cash, and free throws again coming up for Shea Leverett.
Shea Leverett, man, she's strong, she's physical. She just went up over Cash and got that, and here she is right here. Here she's on the offensive glass, up over him and move out of my way. Left hand. I mean, she was short, but that was physical.
A couple of rebounds for Leverett. She had missed her first 2 free throws before this trip, now 0 for 3. Sitting on 2 points right now, has made her only shot from the floor thus far. Shea out of Georgia.
I think it's good to have motor, but if you got a really strong engine, it's better, and that's what she's got. She's physical and with motor.
So Jakia White works it in to her freshman classmate Paige Bayless, the 6'5" target.
Awesome penetration.
And it has SMU up by 3 in this back and forth ball game. Able to work it inside to Sydney Harvey. Again, the freshman we mentioned was featured by the conference this past week. Chatted with Haley Outen, and among the things, talked about hearing all the different languages in the locker room, getting to learn about all the different unique experiences growing up for all these players on the Bulls roster. As Spahajic will pull it back out from Denmark. They work it around the perimeter. The 3-pointer came from Rosenthal from Latvia, the freshman. Need to Google translate the word 3-point or the phrase 3-pointer in all these different languages. Although right now the Bulls 1 for 10.
You know, a little holding on that post set by Olsen. But yes, Olsen's been an interesting insertion into the lineup. She has the green light. I wish she would slow down her delivery a bit. She's a little quick. Right when she gets open, she's firing. I know she has a quick release, but she needs to slow down just a little bit.
White, your leading scorer right now for SMU. Her cousin Jakia with the ball at the moment. As they're both outside the perimeter at the moment, near the top of your screen. Jakia has it stripped away by Harvey. Leverett comes up with it. Harvey eyes up court. Such poise for a freshman. Pulls up for the 13-footer.
That's special right there. I mean, last couple times that Harvey's taken shots, she's read the defense, she's found the seam, and she's delivered.
And Septe is going to be called for the foul, trying to run through Alicia Froling.
Well, there's not many more people that are as physical as Froling, so that was a little bit of an acting job on her, but you know, isn't this part, you have to be a little bit of an actor in this game?
We'll update their IMDb pages after this broadcast. Now breather for Septe.
They haven't really gotten their high-low game going too much because they're shooting prior to giving it to the high post.
You have 4 freshmen and Alicia Froling on the court right now for SMU.
Yeah, that's kind of why there's not a lot of continuity. It's usually 1 or 2 passes, and they're doing something with it.
She has more seasons with this program than her teammates on that court combined.
Great stat, Lincoln.
Yeah. Any stat that I can keep track of on one hand,
You're good.
I can remember.
No, you're the best.
Out of the wing, shot clock melting down, and there's your second three-pointer. This one's from Sydney Harvey.
Well, she's starting to heat up, and you better get out on her because she scored, I think, the last 6 buckets for him.
She was your American Freshman of the Week earlier this month. And a 3-second violation will give it back over to USF. The Bulls, though, have reestablished their lead up by 4 with 4.5 to go here in the second quarter in Dallas. You're watching American women's basketball on the American Digital Network. And with this break, we'll take the opportunity to check back in with Austin Ivan courtside. Austin?
Thanks, Lincoln. Well, at the beginning of this season, Edna Pahajic wasn't getting much playing time. But with the multiple injuries the Bulls have had, she's had to step up and play big minutes recently, and has recently inserted herself into the starting lineup. She's now averaging 8.8 points per game and 5.2 rebounds per game. Our trivia question today is, how many double-doubles has the sophomore already recorded so far this season?
And, of course, the previous trivia question, Swin Cash, the famous cousin of John Asia Cash. We'll have more trivia throughout the day. Right now, the Bulls up by 4.
This is our game, our moment, our time. We work hard and play harder. We stay loyal to the game and to our team. We are power, American power. The American, powered by determination.
Birdie scores!
3 strikeouts in a row.
Dominance for a 4th straight year.
Hueso from 30!
Unbelievable. And be able to celebrate this type of championship.
There's the record breaker. They are the champions of the American.
Power comes in all forms.
Power is a big tackle, a big save, a clutch hit,
Or a game-winning shot.
Power is also standing up for what is right.
There is power in the sportsmanship that is displayed across the American.
Power is respecting opponents,
Officials,
student athletes,
coaches, and team representatives. Power is not tolerating racial or ethnic comments,
Profanities or other improper actions while at the game.
the American.
Power for life.
The American, power for life.
The American, power for life.
Bulls and Mustangs colliding here toward the end of January. Been a fun ride so far as we've had a chance to spotlight a variety of the teams in the American. Of course, USF, no stranger to playing on that final day up in Connecticut at the conference tournament. They'll be back there this coming March. At the moment, it's that other team from Florida. At the moment, that is on a collision course with UConn, not just on Sunday tomorrow, but perhaps in that championship game What we've heard from coaches consistently is you want to be the 2 seed or the 3 seed. 3 seed's a lot better than the 4 seed because you still have a chance to meet UConn in the championship as opposed to on the second to last day in the semifinals.
So USF has gone on a little bit of a run, and
yeah, 7-0 run over the last 2.5 minutes.
So it's important right now. It's Harvey that's gotten them on that run. So they've got to find Harvey on defense. And then offensively, I think just a little, they start to get it. But I mean, I want to credit USF's defense, but I think SMU needs to move the basketball, run their sets a little bit, and I think good things will happen.
Well, part of SMU's problem is they've had more turnovers than shots fired up over the past 3 minutes. They have been held scoreless for the past 3 minutes, trying to end that drought right here at the free throw line. Jakia White. Limited opportunities this year at the charity stripe for one of Travis Mays' 7 freshmen. Looking to add one more. And Leverett will add another rebound. She's already up to 4.
You just never know with the freshmen when they're going to actually, see the light. And it's kind of similar to Harvey. I mean, she just has gotten a rhythm and she has a lot of confidence.
Well, 1 turnover, and the Mustangs couldn't take advantage on the transition the other way.
Well, they need to see the light on the turnover situation because you turn the ball over like this against a good USF team. I don't care how many injuries they got. They still got the same coach on the sideline. And that coach is the one designing the plays and running everything. So you can't turn the ball over against them.
Coach Mealing the other day at ECU reminded us you can't rebound a turnover. You can rebound poor shooting, but if you turn that ball over, you're not going to give yourself much of a chance.
And you talked about it earlier, their guards rebound well, and that was another guard rebound for them.
That one in and out, White with the rebound. Again, Jakia White. Both White cousins are freshmen from here in the Dallas area.
Well, so far, USF is 2 of 14 from three-point range. I talked about it in the pregame that was going to be a concern. If they shoot the ball well, this could be lights out, but they're not shooting the ball well, but they keep shooting it from 3 versus SMU, who was shooting it a lot from three-point range, only 1 of 3. So I like SMU's shot selection. They just need to get a few more down.
SMU at the moment outscoring the Bulls here in the second quarter, 8-7, trimming into a 3-point deficit coming into this frame as Bayless will take a seat. Seven points now for Kayla. Hadjic, Harvey, Pinzon, Leverett, Rosentale on the court right now for USF. And a quick turn towards the bucket. Shot off the mark for Mena. And they'll say stepping on the baseline. Give it back over to SMU.
That was good hustle, though. I mean, Cash did everything she could to keep Leverett off that glass, and Leverett still almost got it. So, great effort.
2.5 minutes until we've reached halftime. Froling offensive rebound. Her determination won't lead to a score, but it is still SMU basketball with a fresh shot clock.
Yeah, Froling's 0 for 4 so far. Has had some tough takes like that one. I mean, that's a tough pass to get in. There's really not a pass to get in there, but they still get it. And she kind of just shot around her.
Kayla White's your leading scorer for SMU right now with 7. Meanwhile, Sydney Harvey leading all scorers with 11 points this half. And that one, they say last touch by USF, stays with SMU, and another fresh shot clock here. Mustangs have missed their last 4 shots. Just 1 of their last 7. And yet find themselves only trailing by 1.
Well, credit SMU's rebounding. They're now leading in rebounding, which has not happened very often against USF. And that was a great take by Froling.
With 2 minutes to go till halftime, Alicia Froling has her first score. And Froling's going to be calling for the reach in there. Alicia Froling mentioned already, the top all-time rebounder and shot blocker, obviously at 6'3", defending the perimeter over the years. She's had those opportunities to reject several shots from shorter foes. And all the head coaches around the league will, I'm sure, be getting her graduation gifts as soon as she calls it a career at SMU. Her twin sister Keely already playing professionally over in Australia, as is their younger brother Harry, who briefly played here at SMU as well as at Marquette before returning back to Australia.
Well, it's never easy to get over a knee injury, and there's a lot of people that have had them, and it just takes a lot of perseverance.
Cash. And for SMU, that's going to be their 9th turnover. It's led to 9 points for the Bulls, keeping them in this game, and right now with a 1-point advantage. And this has been a back and forth affair so far. The Bulls have led by as many as 4, Mustangs by as many as 3.
Yep, 7 different lead changes in this game so far.
Harvey, again, already in double figures. That time throws it away, and a foul was going to walk us all the way to the other end here in the bonus.
I think this is one of those kind of games, neither coach knows exactly what's going to happen. You know, these are all players that are just trying to get their niche and find their way on both teams and establish themselves. So at any point, it could be anyone being the leading scorer here.
We're seeing extended first half minutes here for Jakia White for Travis Mays.
Yeah, since Amber Bacon went down, it looks like she's slid into the lineup there along with Marie Olson, and she's given him a lot of good minutes.
And just like that, SMU up by 1 as we approach the final 70 seconds of the opening half. Froling. Even numbers the other way. And Cash will be called for a walk.
Well, she slid her foot, but that's explosive. That's what she's capable of doing. Just had that sophomore error of sliding the pivot foot.
Again, those 10 turnovers have led to 9 points for USF so far. SMU's only been able to capitalize with 2 points off turnovers this half. Final minute until both teams head to the locker room to talk things over. We'll have a chance to catch up with both head coaches. Stay tuned. Austin will have a chance to speak with both Travis Mays and Jose Fernandez on either side of the halftime break. Jose's been emotional at times, just seeing how hard his players have fought despite all the adversity, seeing some seniors have their careers prematurely ended with injuries. And they have every reason to make up excuses, and yet instead he gets their best, including here Shea Leverett, who has struggled at the charity stripe today. Like so many of her teammates, have continued to rebound well.
Yeah, they're just 2 for 7 from the free throw line, which is below, obviously, their average.
And 0 for 6 is Leverett, as that does not really reflect what her season percentage has been. Closer to about 70%.
Yeah, she just has a flat shot that's kind of hits the front of the rim. She needs to take it up and over.
Inside, strong move. Shades of Stephanie Collins. These days, it's Marie Olson.
Yeah, Marie Olson can take you in or out. She can shoot the 3 or take that or hit the mid-range jumper. She does have a pretty complete game for a big girl.
Olson's a little shorter at 6'2". And again, the Bulls here in the first half are 2 of 16 from beyond the arc. That one may have been a step inside, but they have struggled from long range. SMU hasn't even looked at shooting 3-pointers. They're just 1 for 3 today. From half court, good if it goes. It won't. SMU up by 1 score as they will jog into the locker room looking for their first ever win against USF. And both these teams looking for a confidence builder going into their midweek matchup. And in a moment, Austin will have a chance to catch up with Travis Mays, your 3rd-year head coach for SMU. And he has the nation's youngest team, average age 19. Let's go ahead and check in with Austin and Travis.
Coach, Sydney Harvey has over 13 points, over half their team's points. What do you need to do to her defensively in the second half to slow her down?
Well, I think, first of all, we need to play our defensive principles. We get our nose on the ball. I think she's looking to penetrate or get to the paint. You shoot a short pull-up. If we can do that, we can help her drive into the teeth of our defense. But we're actually opening up the lane and allowing her to get in there. If we don't do that, it's going to be a long night for us.
8 different lead changes in the game. What do you need to do offensively to pull away in the second half?
I think we need to get a little bit more consistency and run our offense with a purpose. I think we're just running our offense, but we're not really running with the intent to attack. We're just moving the ball, and we're not able to make plays if we do it that way.
Thank you, Coach. Good luck the second half.
Thank you.
Always great to hear from the coaches. We'll hear from Jose Fernandez a little bit later on at the end of halftime. First half highlights and stats and a look around the league when we come back here on the American Digital Network.
What's better, winning by a buzzer beater or blowing the team out?
Buzzer beater, no doubt. It just gives different kind of emotions. The best memory should be my freshman year.
No one guarding Loxa, fires for 3, swish. SMU stunned, and they have to take a timeout.
Going through the college experience for the first time, going to the second round, playing with great teammates, having a great coaching staff, just the first experience itself.
Which one of your teammates spends the most amount of time in front of the mirror?
Laura, look at her hair. Look at her hair. She flips her hair around, does her eyebrows as she mentioned. There's a lot of mirror there. I love Friends. I love Grey's Anatomy. I don't know, I like even cartoons. Like there's a lot of stuff. South Florida, go Bulls!
I was the last person anybody's thinking is going to be in college athletics. One thing I really valued about my SMU experience was being in engineering school. I was taught how to think. In 2012, my wife and I decided to start our foundation. Basically, the goal is to let kids be kids while they're in the hospital, but also be able to return to being a kid when they're done. A huge part of my quality of life is the experiences that I've had, and that was all provided by SMU. I'm Thomas Morstead. Game changers are shaped here.
Do you have a nickname?
I have Afro, so my first initial and my first part of my last name, and I'm a twin, so Afro. My sister's K-Fro.
What emoji do you use the most?
Probably the little laughing face emoji. I think that I'm two different people, one on the court, one off the court. Off the court, I'm silly, goofy, and then on the court, I'm pretty serious, down to business, and a hard worker.
What's the last thing you Googled?
I Googled how much liquid I can bring onto an airplane from ounces to milliliters, because I'm still getting used to the American system.
What does it mean to you to put on your school's jersey?
It means so much, I guess, especially being my last year. You know, I'm just going to take pride in that every time I put it on. SMU, pony up.
This is our game, our moment, our time. We work hard and play harder. We stay loyal to the game and to our team. We are power, American power. The American, powered by determination. More than 7,000 student athletes rising to become champions in 22 different sports at 13 esteemed institutions across 11 states. 360,000 students and 2.6 million alumni rise up in celebration of a Power Six conference known as the American, powered by determination.
USF's women's basketball is facing adversity this season. After losing their top player due to a season-ending injury, there have been 4 more inactive players added to the list. Now the Bulls are relying on 8 healthy players to battle through conference play, with 5 of those girls only being freshmen.
Who better to take on the challenge than Sydney Harvey? After having to sit out from her state championship game in high school due to a grade 3 shoulder separation, she's now making up for lost time by carrying this team on her back. Among active players, she's USF's leading scorer.
The freshman point guard is also currently leading the team in assists and is leading the American in free throw percentage, hitting 90% of her shots from the free throw line. And the key to her success this season? Consistency.
Yeah, I was surprised, but now I'm kind of like getting used to it because, you know, you just have to play my work ethic or just like not getting too down or too high. I'm pretty consistent person. I don't like to get like really low in games if I'm not hitting shots. You can always play defense. I don't like to get too high if I'm hitting shots. You know, just keep it consistent.
Harvey began her basketball journey back in the 2nd grade, and ever since, she's continued to excel in her career.
My friend Rachel saw me shooting in recess, and she was like, "You should play for our WNSL team." So then she sent me a letter, and then I got into basketball. So it's all thanks to her. So
Harvey also comes from a basketball family. Her father played and has been an inspiration to her and continues to be today.
I've seen him play on YouTube against Michael Jordan, so I was like, wow. So I was like, yeah, I wanted to play basketball. He's always, after games, telling me something, during the games, telling me something. So yeah, he's been great.
Not only did the Bulls have their eye on Harvey during the recruiting process, but the Nashville, Tennessee native had her eye on them.
AU, of course, or travel basketball, they were looking at me, but I just thought, I've seen them play on TV. I was like, I'd love to get to be a part of that program. Just the diversity on the team is just great. And Florida, who wouldn't want to be in Florida? So.
USF scored big with Sydney Harvey. Her first season playing at the college level and is already reaching career highs and leading this team when they need it the most.
It's been hard at times, but with my teammates, the coaches, everybody's just encouraging me. And I just had to think of like the next man up mentality. You just have to be ready. When your chance gets here, you just got to be ready to step up and make a play.
With Campus Connect from USF, I'm Natalie Island.
Fake layup and in! A quick 6-0 run out of the timeout.
At the American, we know that power isn't for the faint of heart. Power is reserved for the go-getters, the team players, and those who are hungry for victory. We know power because we are power. Join us for the 2019 American Athletic Conference Women's Basketball Championship, March 8th through the 11th at the Mohegan Sun Arena in Uncasville, Connecticut.
Halftime in Dallas, Mustangs and Bulls midway through back in the locker room. Let's take a look at our weekly honors in the American each week. They come out with both a Player of the Week as well as Freshman of the Week. And congratulations this week, of course, to the Bearcat. Last year's Freshman of the Year in the American, Imani Thomas, has helped Cincinnati climb up now 3rd place in the standings.
Well, she's one of the strongest physical posts that we have in the game. If you get it to her, you might as well count 2 points on the board. She averages 65.4% from the field. And by the way, she does a lot of other things too, like score 20 points in a game. So she can score a double-double, and she can make it happen with steals and assists.
Great time to be a basketball fan up in Cincinnati cheering on the Bearcats. Meanwhile, Sydney Harvey, we saw her right here on the American Digital Network. The freshman setting new career standings. It seems like night in, night out for the Bulls, your Freshman of the Week.
Well, she's only just begun, and this is an amazing beginning because she's a complete player. She can shoot it from the outside. She averaged 25 points in the last game, and she's shooting 89% from the free throw line.
Sydney Harvey, your freshman of the week, and Mari Thomas, your player of the week. First half highlights and stats when we come back to Dallas.
Powerful minds, strong in mind,
strong in body. The American is dedicated to promoting success
through a healthy, powerful mind.
If it is okay to seek help
for injuries we can see,
then it needs to be okay to seek help for injuries we can't see. Mental health awareness is important because I think a lot of times it goes unnoticed in college athletics.
We look after our bodies, and it's just as important to look after our mental health.
It's time to end the stigma
related to mental health
and seeking help.
End the stigma.
Birdie scores!
3 strikeouts in a row.
Dominance for a 4th straight year.
Cueto from 30!
Unbelievable. And be able to celebrate this type of championship.
There's the record breaker. They are the champions of the American.
Again, halftime here on the American Digital Network. SMU leading USF. As we begin welcoming you back this afternoon, we've seen some great performances throughout the year, all throughout the American. Lincoln Rose, Angela Beck with you. Sydney Harvey already double digits in the first half. We saw a nice feature of her there with our Campus Connect project. Both these teams have so many young players. There's a lot to look forward to when you look to next year, but both these teams want to accomplish a lot here with the remainder of this season.
That's right, Lincoln. Both of these teams have played really a pretty good first half. I think USF has not shot the ball as well from three-point range, and they haven't shot the ball that well at all from two-point range. So if they can clean that up, it should be a good game.
Take a look at some of the highlights from the opening 20 minutes of play here in Dallas.
Well, that's Septe from the outside, hitting the one and only, I think, three that they hit in the first half. And then they did dominate the boards, though. You know, on both ends, they really did a great job on the boards. But credit SMU, though, for doing the little things by getting a few better shots, hitting better from the free throw line, and matching them on the boards.
Travis Mays, when talking to Austin, going into the locker room, talked about really just everybody taking care of their own tasks. Says sometimes if you don't trust the process, you try to do a little bit too much. And when people try to veer out of their own responsibilities, someone else has to pick up your own slack. He's confident this is a group that once they learn to trust one another, they'll be able to find success as a group. When you look at some of the stats, other than the fact that the Bulls have hit twice as many threes as the Mustangs, what stands out to you?
Well, that they shot 16 threes to try to get there. A lot of their shots are going from long range.
Austin is with Jose Fernandez, head coach of the Bulls. Let's check in with those two.
Coach, last game your team had a great third quarter defensively, holding your opponent to just 1 point. What did you tell your team in the locker room to ensure they do the same thing today?
I don't think the defensive end's the issue right now. You know, I thought we could have rebounded the ball a little better that second quarter, but we had 3 guys with 2 fouls. The issue's on the offensive end. We got to have people step up and make some shots.
Sydney Harvey has over half your points. What do you need from the other girls to step up?
They got to make shots.
Thank you, Coach. Good luck second half.
Simple as that. Thank you very much, Austin, as the Bulls missed their final 7 shots there to close out the opening half. About almost a 5-minute drought here on the road as the Mustangs edged ahead, a 3-point advantage. But this has been a close game throughout. Can either team really click here in the second half and try to pull away with a much-needed win here in conference play?
Yeah, I think both teams are both physical, kind of banging out type teams. It's going to be who hits their shots, especially from three-point range, and who gets their rhythm a little bit more. Both defenses are good. You know, the rebounding's good. It's just the little things that are going to matter the most.
Harvey had 13 rebounds. After that, the bright spot is Henshaw's 4 points, 6 boards. I think I said Harvey 13 points to lead the way, a couple of rebounds. And her 19 minutes. We saw Leverett out there all 20 minutes in the first half again for the shorthanded Bulls this year. As Coach talks to his starters. And again, Austin's most recent question for those of you watching on Facebook here: how many double-doubles has Bahajic recorded this year? Still a chance for you to chime in before we spoil the fun with the answer in a moment. As your answer is 3 double-doubles. Creighton, she had that 20 and 11 performance against UCF in the rivalry. 16 and 10 in that rare loss to the Knights. And against UConn, really stepped up, 17 points, 12 rebounds. Again, the most recent double-double for Bahajic. Meanwhile, SMU, when they got their schedule, they knew this was going to be a tough stretch. UConn, UCF, those 2 games now in their rearview mirror. But USF, never easy, even when they are battling injuries.
Yeah, but like what Coach said early on in the halftime was that Bahajic, Septe, and Henshaw, all 3 with 2 fouls apiece. He's the kind of guy that's not going to let you get your 3rd foul, and especially in the first half. So now that they can maybe get released a little bit and be able to do what they got to do, maybe that could change a little bit for them.
Well, and a place where that's going to dictate things for the Bulls is if they do have foul issues with a short bench, perhaps switching out a man would be something we would see, not an issue at the moment. As we are underway here in the 3rd quarter, Lincoln Rose, Angela Beck, Austin Ivan with you here on the American Digital Network. White leaves her feet, able to find help out wide from Whitfield on the mark. Well, SMU's only attempted 4 3-pointers in this ball game, but they've made half of them.
I was as patient as I've seen him, so that's a good start.
And this is your largest lead of the day for either team. Cash swats it out. And guess what? More rebounds for USF, that time Shea Leverett.
Well, they do like to tip, and I'm sure they do a million tipping drills, and they keep a ball alive till they get it.
20% is customary. There you see again, 6-point advantage. Biggest discrepancy we've had in this back and forth ball game. There's going to be a foul. Free throws coming up. And again, the Bulls so far just 2 of 8 from the charity stripe. Henshaw got poked in the face. Mara Henshaw, your junior.
2 of 8, though, basically because of Leverett being 0 for 6. So that's really not reflective.
Maybe an elbow to the nose there, delivered by Marie Olson. Tamara out of Palm Coast, Florida, able to hit the front end.
I think it's always good to have a couple different lefties on your team, and just brings a different dynamics for you, and she's one of those.
As that one will rattle through. Mackenzie Ellis checked in during those free throws. Again, Mackenzie had to sit out last year after transferring from Colorado. She and Savannah Ellis both arrived on campus last year. Savannah straight out of high school in Tulsa. The way it is, they couldn't play together last year because Mackenzie had to sit out this year. Savannah with an injured foot. They're not sure when they'll get her back. So they've yet to be Mustangs on the court together at the same time out of storied Booker T. Washington High School in Tulsa. And at the moment, our officials trying to address some issues at the scorer's table. Denise Brooks heading up this crew of Joe Fasili and Karen Priato. Travis Mays and his assistant Mike Brandt. We got to see Mike coach his daughter his first year at SMU. Amara would come off the bench, had one really memorable performance where she just lit it up from 3. She had led Division II in the country in 3-pointers before transferring for her senior campaign with Dad over to SMU a couple years back. A spot-up look for White. Good.
Now that's impressive. That's coming out of that little time not a timeout, but they called that set. It was a double screen and then a stagger screen for her, and it was perfect.
Kayla's not shy when it comes to attempting three-pointers, has not hit at a high clip, and all of a sudden a bit of a run. Jonasia Cash gets in on the phone. Jose Fernandez wants a timeout. Just like that, it's a 9-point lead for SMU. .8:18 to go here in the third. As Travis Mays and the Mustangs, we mentioned, trying to find that elusive victory over the talented USF Bulls and pick up a win while defending their home court on this Saturday afternoon in Big D.
At the American, we know that power isn't for the faint of heart. Power is reserved for the go-getters, the team players, and those who are hungry for victory. We know power because we are power. Join us for the 2019 American Athletic Conference Women's Basketball Championship, March 8th through the 11th at the Mohegan Sun Arena in Uncasville, Connecticut.
Scores!
3 strikeouts in a row.
Dominance for a fourth straight year.
Hueso from 30!
Unbelievable. And be able to celebrate this type of championship.
There's the record breaker. They are the champions of the American.
Power comes in all forms.
Power is a big tackle, a big save, a clutch hit,
Or a game-winning shot.
Power is also standing up for what is right.
There is power in the sportsmanship that is displayed across the American.
Power is respecting opponents,
Officials,
student athletes,
Coaches and team representatives.
power is not tolerating racial or ethnic comments,
Profanities or other improper actions while at the game.
the American.
Power for life.
The American, power for life.
The American. Power for life.
Mustangs on a roll to punt that last time out from USF. Let's check back in with Austin Ivan.
Thanks, Lincoln. Well, Louisa Septe wasn't even in America a month ago. It was the day after Christmas when she moved from Latvia to the United States. She's been with the team for less than a month, but she's already made her presence known in that short amount of time. In her first game, she played plenty of minutes, and now she's already inserted herself into the starting lineup as just a freshman. She said it's been difficult transitioning so fast, but she has so many other teammates from other countries that help her out that it's been an easy transition.
Yeah, Austin, not just from other countries. She's your third Latvian on this USF program. Of course, Kitty Alaksa, the senior, out after injuring her ACL in the third game of the year. And their fellow countrymen, again, 3 of them in total from Latvia. Janetta Rosenthaler, we've already seen earlier today, the freshman. Inside, strong move, and back to the free throw line will go Shea Leverett.
Well, the Leverett-Jonasia Cash matchup is one to put your eyes on, folks. There's a lot of body bumping down there. I thought that Jonasia did what she could, but Shea is, she maneuvers. She's strong and she makes it happen. But her free throw is just a little flat. Up and over the front of the rim, I used to teach, just get it up and over, and she just tends to just be a little bit flat on that.
And now 1 for 8 with that one from the charity stripe. Leverett on the year. Again, I mentioned a 70% free throw shooter, just struggling here today. Froling offensive rebound, put back, good old-fashioned Alicia Froling.
Alicia Froling, great rebound by her, and it's just a nice little take.
So if I were to tell you Froling would have 2 points in the first half, now 4 for the ball game, you'd think the Mustangs probably are not going to be up by double digits.
No, but I think what's happening now is Kayla White is inserting herself, and she has inserted herself as the #1 scorer in the conference on this team. She averages 9.3 points in conference play, and right now Froling's averaging 9.3 points. So Kayla's really becoming the go-to.
Yeah, White's already surpassed her average with 10 points. Whitfield. Ellis. McKenzie draws the front of the iron, gets her own rebound, able to track it down.
Well, if you're going to shoot a shot flat, go get it. And that was a great rebound by Ellis.
A long two. And the Bulls will finally get this one back. USF's been outscored 10-3 here in the third quarter early on. Too long, but again, another offensive rebound. Able to collect it. Shot won't go. Cash with a board of her own. Leverett with 7 boards is one of 3 Bulls with 7 rebounds in this ball game. It just hasn't led to enough second chance points. And that one winds up in the lap of Leverett.
Yeah, it's just where the poise of a young team is hard to get. They're just a little bit in a hurry.
And again, Pahajic not on the same page with Harvey. That's a sophomore and a freshman. They're combining, though, for over 20 points a ball game. But just some miscues still as they grow as teammates.
9 turnovers, and Pahajic and Septe have 6 of them, so just a little guard-to-guard connection issue.
In Mackenzie Ellis at the top of the key. Cash set that screen, and Ellis, the beneficiary, had some breathing room. A 12-point lead for SMU. Bulls trying to end a 2.5-minute drought meanwhile.
They like Ellis off the bench. They feel like she gives them a little spark, and that was a really good, nice take by her.
And USF is 2-3 in conference. Their wins at Temple and against Tulane in Tampa. We had that one on the American Digital Network. That was a 73-46 showing for these Bulls. They would have a nail biter then when Memphis and Melissa McFerrin came to town. Memphis able to get away with the victory back on Wednesday there. And back on for the Bulls, Elisa Pinzon, your freshman from Italy. It's a trip back to Florida for the Bulls as they will play their final game of the month against Cincinnati, and then War on I-4 continues to kick off February on the 3rd as they'll travel to Orlando. Trademark bow tie for Travis Mays. He has played under some of the greats when you talk about head coaches. And of course, he went back to his alma mater to help out with the women's program at Texas. Over the years, Jody Conrad, and of course more recently with Karen Aston and that turnaround job in Austin. And another trip to the charity stripe for the Bulls.
Well, here she is going to work. She just goes right into her. If she doesn't get the shot, she's going to get the foul.
Jay Leverett, 3 points, 6 boards so far. Will head to the free throw line for a 5th time today when we come back. 5 minutes to go here in the 3rd.
I was the last person anybody's thinking is going to be in college athletics. One thing I really valued about my SMU experience was being in engineering school. I was taught how to think. In 2012, my wife and I decided to start our foundation. Basically, the goal is to let kids be kids while they're in the hospital, but also be able to return to being a kid when they're done. A huge part of my quality of life is the experiences that I've had, and that was all provided by SMU. I'm Thomas Morstead. Game changers are shaped here.
This is our game, our moment, our time. We work hard and play harder. We stay loyal to the game and to our team. We are power, American power. The American, powered by determination.
12-point lead for the Mustangs. A couple of free throws coming up for USF and Shea Leverett. And we take a look at what is still to come here on the American Digital Network as we continue our women's basketball coverage here in the American Athletic Conference. Back-to-back games on the road as we'll see the Owls at Tulsa and then the Bearcats in Tampa against these Bulls. We'll still get to see the Green Wave, the Pirates, these Mustangs, as well as the Tigers a little bit later on, as our coverage will continue right on through the end of conference play before we hand things off for the conference tournament up in Connecticut. Those two know how to do college basketball right.
They're double-fisted.
This will be an enjoyable experience, win or lose, but right now their Mustangs are up by 12.
I think a couple things that are going to be interesting is how does SMU handle a 12-point lead? They probably haven't had too many 12-point leads in this league yet. So are they able to manage it and settle down in the quarter court? And two, where are we going to get the offense at USF? Because Harvey is their offense, and someone else has to step up. I know Leverett is the other possibility, but she only has 3 points. So they need to go down low to Leverett, get her involved, and help out Harvey here so they can close this gap.
And you feel for Shea right now, 1 for 9 from the charity stripe. Last time SMU had a double-digit lead, we actually were pointing our spotlight on them for that ball game, as that was their last win against Wichita State here in Dallas. A final of 78-50 for them. Since then, trips to UCF and UConn, understandably, no double-digit advantages in Orlando or Stores.
Well, before this game, Leverett's 69% from the line, so this is just a super off night for her, and hopefully she can correct it. I mean, so that's what I'm talking about there. SMU goes down, does another unforced error. They've got to just do the little things right now and try to continue to put the pressure on them.
First turnover from Olsen for this ball game. Nice job by Leverett amid the chaos, was able to find the open teammate.
Well, that was Kayla White's man. She's sleeping a little bit on defense. I know she's a great offensive player, but you got to play both ends, and that was her man wide open.
Henshaw now with 8 points. Olsen able to regroup. Into Froling, not deterred by the double team, but a tad strong, overcompensates. Outlet pass. And this one stays with USF inside. 4 minutes to go here in the third.
Yeah, Froling was expecting to get hammered on that play, and she didn't, and she just overshot.
And Bulls have just played 8 players today. Leverett. And she wants to make the bucket so badly and just simply go to the line for the and one. But she'll be shooting 2 here.
Yeah, that's just a little bit too easy there. And that's, you know, it's Kayla White again. Defense is not maybe her major stay, what she likes to focus on. But, you know, it's tough. She's a small body. She just has to get physical.
Yeah, that's her cousin's job, Jakia, who such a disciplined defender coming out of high school. Donasia Cash back on, and the aforementioned Jakia White. As Mackenzie Ellis and starter Marie Olsen today will take a seat. We saw the replay, Shea with her, just the effort to almost get that bucket a moment ago was impressive, and there is your line drive shot.
Well, they can't handle Cash not being out there. She's got 3 fouls right now. She just has to watch it, but she definitely has to handle Leverett.
Well, the Bulls are slowly cutting into this deficit. Back within 7, looking for a stop here. And Cash off the mark, well defended. Septe with the rebound. Leverett. And they'll call her for a walk, but it's obvious what the Bulls want to do.
I mean, that's a good scheme, and that's what I like about Jose Fernandez. He definitely dictates what happens out on that floor, and that's where he wanted the ball to go.
Leverett did a great job defending that without committing the foul. Now 2 different Mustangs feel the wrath of Leverett in the area, affecting the shots without picking up the whistles. Unfortunately for SMU, with this ball back over to the Bulls, they're just one of their last 7.
So when Whitfield rebounds the ball that Froling misses, pull it out, set it up. You know, I mean, you just can't afford to go back and airball it.
Whitfield is guarding Leverett right now. They'll switch. A little tightrope, and nobody was in the area. Now, if our officials were wearing green shirts today, it might have been understandable.
Yeah, Harvey's been a little quiet here. They've been doing a good job of shutting her down, and that's unusual for her to force that error.
All of her 13 points came in the first half. She had 13 of the 22 for USF when we went to the locker rooms.
Well, I talked about this game not being pretty at the opening, and it's not looking too pretty right now. Just it's physical. It's a little sloppy.
I guarantee at the end of the day, it'll be pretty for one of these 2 teams.
Yes, one of them is going to be very happy.
Whether it's a 6th home win for SMU, who I should say SMU who hasn't found a win on the road this year. They have a couple of neutral victories. Or the Bulls able to pull to 500 in league play, and another turnover.
Well, when you think one team might have an advantage, the other team does the same thing. That's Henshaw just with the quick slip of the foot, and another TO.
And that's 3 turnovers in the last minute and a half now for USF. Now the difference is SMU is not taking advantage of those turnovers. They still just have 4 points off those miscues. Bulls with a dozen. White, no ma'am. Getting her right hand on that was Louisa Septe, the freshman. Shot clock. Melting down, Cash open, baseline, no. And Tamara Henshaw able to hang on to that one. Harvey perhaps back on track, her 2nd triple of the day.
That's defensive transition into offense, and then the quick shot from the corner. That's what they want to do. That's a great injection for them.
Septe was able to find her for the assist. And another rebound for Leverett. She's got 9. She and Henshaw each one away from double-digit boards today. And an offensive foul, as I think all she did was leave the 7-10 split afterwards.
Yeah, I think she just got a little bit out of control. I think they want to get the tempo up, but
as a rare mistake as of late for the Bulls. They're on an 8-0 run as they have trimmed this deficit back within 4, looking for another stop here. And a travel call. Wasn't sure if it'd be a double dribble or a walk.
Just not impressed with what SMU's doing right now. They don't seem to have a real conscience of what the time is and what the situation is. Now it's a 3-point game or a 4-point game, and they're back in it. So they've got to take advantage of every opportunity.
Well, SMU's missed their last 8 shots, and they didn't even get a shot off that last trip down because of the turnover. Bulls on an 8-0 run, now trying to make it a double-digit streak here. It's cut within 1 score. They trailed by as many as a dozen. Little game of hot potato, and back over to the Mustangs. Final half minute here in the 3rd quarter. And a tie-up, and the possession arrow will send us the other way with 21.8 seconds to go.
I think when you're young and you're trying to make your move, you know, you're fast. You know, you're just trying to find an opening. And as the older you get, you know, if they're on my top side, I'm going to go low. If you're on my low side, I'm going to go high. So it's more methodical. And once they get that, they'll be more consistent.
See if the Bulls can cap off quite the comeback here in the third. And it was tight at the half. SMU was looking to break things open, but both these teams have now had great runs. Kick out, Pinzon. We will have a 4-point ball game going into the fourth quarter here in Dallas. 37-33 our score as those Bulls battle back. Let's check back in courtside with Austin.
Thanks, Lincoln. USF's Jose Fernandez has built a winning culture in Tampa over his 19 years as a head coach. He's had 13 winning seasons, with 6 of those seasons with at least 20 wins. Now, you're going to have to go back a ways, but our trivia question to you is, how many winning seasons has USF had before Jose Fernandez arrived in Tampa?
Austin, thank you again. Jose Fernandez now in his 19th year with those 6 NCAA tournaments, 8 WNITs. You take it all for granted. We'll have the answer to that trivia question here in the fourth quarter. Right now, his Bulls within 4.
More than 7,000 student athletes rising to become champions in 22 different sports at 13 esteemed institutions across 11 states. 360,000 students and 2.6 million alumni rise up in celebration of a Power 6 conference known as the American, powered by determination.
Purdy scores!
3 strikeouts in a row.
Dominance for a 4th straight year.
Hueso from 30!
Unbelievable. And be able to celebrate this type of championship.
There's the record breaker. They are the champions of the American.
Power comes in all forms.
Power is a big tackle, a big save, a clutch hit,
or a game-winning shot.
Power is also standing up for what is right.
There is power in the sportsmanship that is displayed across the American.
Power is respecting opponents,
Officials,
student athletes,
Coaches and team representatives.
power is not tolerating racial or ethnic comments,
Profanities or other improper actions while at the game.
the American.
Power for life.
The American, power for life.
The American, power for life.
Well, both these teams found a run in the third quarter, and each of them perhaps got in their own way with some miscues.
Yes, it's kind of surprising to see these guys do some unforced errors where, you know, this one's caused by defense, but, you know, they're throwing it to somebody that's not there. The guards have not connected. The guards have had 12 of their 16 turnovers, and it's just been a combination of just not seeing anyone. And I don't know if you want to focus on SMU's defense, but I think it's more just they're just a little lackadaisical.
Well, USF, their 3 guards, a couple of freshmen and a sophomore, still room to grow. Of course, we mentioned SMU, 7 freshmen this year for Travis Mays. Was busy on the recruiting trail this last offseason. Fourth quarter underway. SMU still hanging on to the edge. It was 12. Right now, that lead at 4, and perhaps they can start to grow it again.
Well, Coach Travis Mays has seen something in Marie Olson, and that's a 6'2" girl shooting it like a guard. So she has guard-like skills, and he's finding a place for her on this team.
She got the start today, has answered with 7 points now.
There's another turnover. I mean, the defense is squarely in front of the offensive player. That takes a pin, kind of a just dissecting the defense to get that in there. It's a very difficult pass, and it proves not to be a good one.
Olson's been averaging about 11 minutes per game, about 2 points. Already 15 minutes here in this one. So up by 2 scores. Into Froling. Whitfield again got the start, the sophomore from the Houston area. Froling tries to save it. It pins on, and the Bulls the other way. Into traffic. As they'll slow things down. Bulls today shooting 25% from the floor, just 3 of 21 from beyond the arc. We saw them for a while there continue to feed Leverett down low, believing that's where they'd have an advantage, and now a foul on SMU.
Well, the Bulls have continued, SMU has continually gone after Harvey. If she just dribbles one way or the other, they're double teaming her, and thus the other players should actually try to move and go back door because she'd be wide open. But they're trying to limit her takes, and because of her first half performance.
Still plenty of time on the shot clock. And a little check there. Whistled on Jakia White.
I mean, good effort. Just you don't want to give people free throws here down the stretch. So that's been 2 pretty quick fouls for SMU.
Talk about the youth of SMU. 4 of their losses were by a combined 5 points early in the year. Right now, a little bit of an edge. They, again, led by as many as 12. You questioned, well, if you don't have a double-digit lead very often, do you know how to handle it? And sure enough, we've seen again some more growing pains. Meanwhile, Sydney Harvey, 13 points in the first half, 3 points in the third quarter. It's going to be a fun one to watch for years to come. That one off the mark.
That was a set play for Sydney Harvey, called by the coaching staff. Kind of a clear out for her to drive that weak side, and Tully was there and fouled her. So she's a crafty player. We've talked about her in the open. We've talked about her several times. Does not play like a freshman, and they want the ball in her hands late in the game.
Well, she's a 90% free throw shooter. So remember where you were when you saw her miss that first one here in Dallas.
Yeah, she leads the conference in free throw shooting and is ranked nationally.
3 for 4 today. White, extra pass to Froling. And we've got a whistle. Froling will go to line to add one more.
Well, there's an offense I recognize right there. I mean, that was good action. Dribble penetration, dish down, and even had a weak side man open. So, you know, the younger you are, the less vision you have. You look, but you don't see, and that time they saw.
That's just the second foul today on Shea Leverett, who's been so disciplined defensively today. And the 3-point play from Froling, who's now got 7 points to go with her 5 rebounds.
So now USF needs to have a little sense of urgency. I mean, there's plenty of time on the clock, but they need a quality shot.
Leverett's extra motivated down low after being whistled on one end, wanted to help get the points back. Whitfield. Froling, weak side. Just a few too many Bulls had gathered around her.
Their coach got him to pull it out. I mean, they did not want to pull that thing out.
And over and back for SMU. Backcourt violation when Cash touches that.
Well, first Coach had his hands, Coach Mays had his hands above his head like, oh my gosh. And then he started cheering like, well, there's nothing I can do about it. So, you know, that's just an opportunity lost for SMU.
Again, he does not have a lot of older players for these Mustangs to look up to, and so he tries to be mindful of that he is still kind of shouldering some of that burden as someone to inspire them, rather than just his role as coach.
That was a great take by Hadjic on the outside. They double teamed Harvey, and she shook him loose.
Those are the first 3 points for Anna today after missing her first 5 from beyond the arc. She's been staying in this game though with her 7 rebounds. No Bull with more than 2 fouls, so no concerns there here in the fourth quarter. 6.5 minutes to go in regulation. Wednesday in Greenville, we got to see a little bit of free basketball between UCF and ECU. Got another close one here in Dallas, but a transition bucket for the Mustangs and Kayla White.
Well, Kayla White, she's an offensive-minded player, and she's going to get out and get an easy 2.
Another offensive board, count the bucket, as right spot, right time, Tamara Henshaw.
I mean, USF is saying don't celebrate because we're still in it.
It's a double-double for Henshaw, 10 points, 12 rebounds, and she has the Mustangs, pardon me, she has her Bulls back within 5 of the Mustangs on the road today. So 5:55 to go here in the fourth, and let's check back in with Austin Ivan.
Thanks, Lincoln. Well, it's still a close game here, and we want to know who you think is the most valuable player in the game. It could be for either SMU or USF. Let us know who you think stood out in the game and helped get the win.
This one's still up for grabs. 5 points separating SMU and USF with 6 minutes to go.
At the American, we know that power isn't for the faint of heart. Power is reserved for the go-getters, the team players, and those who are hungry for victory. We know power because we are power. Join us for the 2019 American Athletic Conference Women's Basketball Championship, March 8th through the 11th at the Mohegan Sun Arena in Uncasville, Connecticut.
Powerful minds, strong in mind, strong in body. The American is dedicated to promoting success
through a healthy, powerful mind.
If it is okay to seek help
for injuries we can see,
then it needs to be okay to seek help for injuries we can't see. Mental health awareness is important because I think a lot of times it goes unnoticed in college athletics.
We look after our bodies, and it's just as important to look after our mental health.
It's time to end the stigma
related to mental health
and seeking help. End the stigma.
Bernie scores!
3 strikeouts in a row.
Dominance for a 4th straight year.
Cueto from 30!
Unbelievable. And be able to celebrate this type of championship.
There's the record breaker. They are the champions of the American.
Well, how will this one play out? SMU and USF, just their 11th all-time meeting. First time they ever met, neutral court in Vegas back 9 years ago, but all their other contests have been within conference play. Mustangs fans seeing the home side leading by as many as 12 today, but then saw Anna Pahajic and the Bulls on a bit of a run of their own in the third quarter. We saw Anna end a drought. She had missed her first 8 shots before connecting on that 3. Bulls just 4 of 23 from downtown Dallas.
Yeah, it was a big 3 for them, though. That, you know, she never quits, and they needed that. This is when historically USF has been brilliant down the stretch on their defense.
Froling, they're going to call her for an offensive foul. As stepping in to take the charge was Henshaw. Again, Henshaw a double-double today, 10 points, 12 rebounds, and steps things up there defensively.
I guess when you're used to scoring a lot, like Froling has in the past, you just quick everything up, and she's out quicking herself.
So the Bulls down by just 2 scores on the road here with 5 minutes to go in the fourth quarter. Septe was all alone. An offensive rebound by guess who? Again, it's the junior Henshaw who will be going to the free throw line.
Well, Henshaw's not been a silent person. I mean, she had 12 points, 10 rebounds against UConn. She averaged 8.8 points in conference play. she's going to get her points. And a lot of it comes from just that, the rebound, the offensive rebounds.
Now, Tamara's been an even better free throw shooter than Harvey, but it's been a limited sample size. That's just her second miss on the year, but it's only her 13th free throw attempted.
You gave her the hex jinx.
Yeah. You can send your letters to Angela Beck.
Back to the game for the Mustangs. Number 1.
I'm sure she'll forward them to me.
Yes, I will.
That makes 1 of 2.
So Cash now has 4 fouls. He's elected to take her out at this point.
No other player for either team has more than 2 fouls. We'll see how Cash's absence affects them. Kahajic picks the pocket, will have to get the points at the free throw line. Whitfield, pardon me, Jakia White commits the foul after giving up the ball.
Well, Enna is, she's a little bit frustrated, you know, just if you key in on her. Hasn't had a great night shooting, and you don't want to have that kind of kid be frustrated because she's a really tough competitor. She's not going to quit till that buzzer beats, and she's gonna make something happen.
He's a 65% free throw shooter. Misses her first attempt on the day, 0 for 2. And this ball's still up for grabs, and the possession arrow will keep it here with USF. Bulls are even rebounding their own misses at the charity stripe.
Well, yeah, it's tough when you're shooting 45% from the free throw line for the game as a team, 10 of 22. Tough to win on the road.
Well, again, you make half of those misses and you're up right now. We'll call it a pass. There's not going to be an assist there, but a nice left-handed finish by Henshaw.
Little up and under, showing her athleticism.
She's having a 13 and 15 outing. Froling kicks out. That's a long 2. It's good for Mackenzie Ellis, but that big right toe on the line.
Well, neither player, White or Froling, forced it.
Let's see if USF called a timeout in time, and that is the case. And I believe there is a timeout as opposed to a dual possession. So Bulls will still have the basketball, down by 2 scores at the moment. Each team with 9 points here in the 4th. We're right where we were when we started this final frame. A lot of future Mustangs and perhaps some Bulls as well in the house.
I think the key now is that, you know, who's going to go to their go-to people, and obviously it's going to be White, you know, on SMU's team, or possibly Froling down low, and then you got to get Leverett or Henshaw and Sydney Harvey involved. And which team can get these guys to execute in the last few minutes here will be the key.
Again, mentioned the Bulls, even though they're headed back to their home state, it's going to be Cincinnati, who's 3rd in the conference, and UCF, who's tied for 1st in the conference. Their next 2 opponents on the schedule. Remember, UCF plays UConn tomorrow. Both are 6-0 in league play. That is on ESPN2. Top 2 teams in the league this year. UCF already 1 win this year against these Bulls, a rare victory for the Knights in the War on I-4 women's basketball rivalry. Froling out to Ellis, both feet behind the line. Another board, 14-footer from White, no. And the Bulls survive a couple of shots from SMU. Trying to make this a 1-score ball game, and another charge taken. Whitfield with a huge stomp.
Well, we haven't heard much from Whitfield tonight, this afternoon. She slides in there. I'm not sure she got there, but she got the call, and she has the heart to make the call. If I'm SMU, I don't shoot it quite as quick on that other end as they did. They got the rebound. They should pull it out, but we'll see how they manage it here.
Yeah, that's a tough break, as you want the defender to have positioning before the ball handler leaves their feet for safety reasons. And again, that white arc is now the restricted area for both the men's and women's game. Pay no attention to that blue arc.
Leverett, another great defensive stop by Leverett inside against Froling.
Still a 4-point ball game. Pahajic, little fake, goes in, finish, cuts it in half.
There she goes. Doesn't matter how many times she's emptying the well, she's going to keep drilling down.
Ellis, they may have walked. Needed some separation, took a little slide back. And USF will have a chance to tie or take a lead with a field goal here.
It's interesting, you can talk about who are the go-to players. Obviously, the go-to player on this team is Sydney Harvey. And she has the ball in her hands right now. Look for a pick and roll or two to free her up.
And an offensive foul. They're going to say away from the basketball as Louisa Septe with the miscue.
It's an illegal screen, and it's a moving screen. So here she is, Septe, and she's kind of basically pushing the defender away, and you cannot.
She was using the one Mustang against another there.
You can't misplace them. They get to stand where they want.
SMU's lead is down to just 2. As they clog the lane, and it pays off. 2 minutes to go here in the 4th quarter.
Now I'm thinking it's Kayla White time.
Against Swin Cash. Swin Cash. John Asia Cash back in the ball game, playing with 4 fouls, 6 points, 10 rebounds today. Swin's ineligible. And a shot clock violation. The Mustangs are empty-handed still, and they are giving the Bulls, I believe, at least their 3rd chance now to tie or take a lead going the other way. As SMU's missed their last 5 shots, scoreless for the past 2.5 minutes.
Yeah, they've been kind of circus shots, not quite on the mark here.
As Jose Fernandez wants to make sure everybody's on the same page here in crunch time, calls the timeout with 93 seconds to go in regulation. So again, we are in Greenville on Wednesday, Dallas today. You and I look forward to a busy week this upcoming week. We have Tuesday, Wednesday, and again Saturday matchups here on the American Digital Network. Plenty of women's basketball following this league again from start to finish, from January on into March. Who knows what this league will look like when that conference tournament rolls around, but Cincinnati has to be pleased with what they've been doing. They've been hitting their stride with Amari Thomas as we take a look at what is coming up here in our immediate future. Again, the Owls as well as the Fighting Mossmans up there in Tulsa, as well as Cincinnati and these Bulls back in Tampa.
Yeah, and Memphis has won 3 in a row. You know, they got in a little bit of a rut early, and now they've won 3 in a row. So, you know, it's so early. It's just a dogfight every night on who's going to do what. And just like what we have today, and we had an overtime last time, these games are getting better and better by the day.
Oh, my goodness. Why didn't we cut to that earlier? I dare you not to smile. Yeah, everybody having fun. Great time coming out. Competitive ball game right now. And you saw on that SMU bench, Travis Mays with his assistants that he's been able to keep together for these 3 years. Amy Smith-Bradley, the former Longhorn standout and Trinity head coach, comes back to where her dad and grandfather played college football at SMU. Erica White, of course, 4 times to the Final Four with the women at LSU, is on the staff of Travis as well. Final minute and a half in regulation. Bulls trying to erase what was a 12-point deficit back in the 3rd quarter. They got a lot of the heavy lifting done in that quarter with a run of their own. But another turnover here.
Well, high-low pass that was double teamed, so tough pass, entry pass in there.
Their 4th turnover the last 3 minutes. Again, each time they've really had a chance to tie or take the lead. White with 12 points, leading scorer for SMU. Olsen got the start today. Shot clock is down to 4. No second chance opportunity for the Mustangs. Cash has to be careful playing with 4 fouls. Hits the bottom of the rim, and we've got a tie-up. That'll send it back over to SMU. There's 10 seconds separating the game clock and shot clock. And SMU established a 2-score lead. They've been stuck on 46 points now.
Yeah, they've been 0 for 6 on their last 6 opportunities. They've come up empty.
They've been scoreless for the past 3.5 minutes. And during those 3.5 minutes, the Bulls have had several opportunities to tie or take a lead. And let's see which of these two teams can end this stalemate just in time to claim a victory here at the end of regulation.
I'd like to see them try to get ball reversal through the high post and then try to go down to the low post and get something where you can either draw a foul. But the post play has been a little bit erratic tonight for SMU. They've been a little bit off the mark, not really shooting as consistently as they normally had, and I'm going to have to credit USF's defense, but they just need something where they can either penetrate or get something down low and get a solid opportunity.
And Jose Fernandez's Bulls, 6 consecutive 20-win seasons, 13 times in the last 18 years with 500 or better record, usually much better. Hard to believe that the Bulls, before his arrival 2 decades ago, just had 3 winning seasons in their first 22 campaigns. The answer to your final trivia question today. I know Austin still wanting you to chime in with who you think your MVP is. Obviously, the game's still in doubt. Froling. So the Bulls, with the shot clock off, can hold for the final look to either tie or walk this one off.
Well, there's nothing wrong with what I just saw, except they didn't score, but that was a well-executed offensive situation. They put it in their senior Froling's hands. She just overshot it, and they did what they could do. Now they just got to get a stop, or, I mean, you got to look for, obviously, a screenplay for Harvey or Anna.
The bright spots today for the Bulls, again, Harvey's 17 points, the freshman, and almost all 40 minutes in this ball game. Henshaw, the double-double, 13 and 15. Leverett gave them 9 boards with her 6 points. Sepday, 8 rebounds. Pahajic, 8 rebounds. Again, the Bulls, we're not just making this up. Everybody, no matter what your job description says, is battling for those opportunities off the glass. Meanwhile, for SMU, your leader today has been Kayla White, the freshman.
Yeah, all of them have had a lot of opportunities with White, Cash, and Froling. They've all had 11 opportunities. Just haven't, shot 30% from the field, but had some good looks.
A chance to hold again for the final shot to either send it to overtime or perhaps head back to Tampa with a victory. Down by 2 in Dallas. Shot blocked. Oh, what a defensive stop by Marie Olsen.
Well, no guts, no glory.
Bulls had no choice but to foul.
Yeah, that was, I'm not sure why she was doing a step back move on that. A little drive to the hole and a drawing, the foul might have been a better decision.
Pahajic wanted the win, but it's not a day where the Bulls have found much success from beyond the arc. 4 of 25, and well, there's a reason why she missed that one, and that's because the left hand of Marie Olsen.
I'm sure Coach said in the huddle, hey, if you've got a 3 that's open, you can take it for the win, or we'll take a 2 for the tie. But that one wasn't quite open, but, maybe she just misjudged her long outstretched arms of the big girl.
Now that last foul committed by USF, that's only their 3rd team foul of the 4th quarter, so Mustangs aren't going to the free throw line. They need to be able to inbound this ball. The priority is get a steal, those 1.5 seconds. If you don't have that steal immediately, you've got to hack away at whichever Mustang is closest to you.
I think you might get a foul even before the ball's inbounded. At 1.5 seconds, you might get a second off the clock, and you can't afford that. So it'll be tough. A steal is probably what they need here.
Mustangs looking for their first ever win against USF. 1.5 seconds away. A defensive stop a moment ago. They'll get it in, and the Bulls do commit a foul. Let's see if they put more time on the clock, because I'll tell you right now, if it's just 0.3 seconds left, that's probably going to be your ball game.
Yep, they need about 0.4 seconds to get a shot off.
All they're doing is 0.3. The moment this ball is touched, this game's over. SMU will pick up the victory here at home. 46-44, Michaela White leads the way for the home squad on SMU with 12 points today. A freshman-filled lineup included 7 points from Olsen and a huge block the last trip down defensively. Froling finishes with 7 points, 7 rebounds, as John Asia Cash 6 points to go with her 10 rebounds as Travis Mays' group picks up the win.
Talk about injecting a little bit of spark into your ball club. That's going to do it. The practices are going to be a lot different, and the attention span is going to be a lot different. Awesome win by SMU.
Again, this is their answer after playing UConn and UCF their last 2 games. Those are the top 2 teams in the standings. And you welcome a win any way you can get one at home and try to build on it moving forward. It means Austin Ivan's going to be talking to Travis Mays as well as one of our top players today. Let's go ahead and check in with Austin and Coach.
Thanks, Lincoln. Coach, what can you say about Kayla White? She finished with 12 points to lead your team today.
Well, Kayla's actually fighting through an infection. I think it's a sinus infection. So I can't say how proud I am of the effort that she put forth. Tough win for us. That's a really, really good team. They're a little bit down. We're young. So I'm just glad we was able to come away with the victory today.
You had 8 different scores today. What does it say about your offensive balance?
Well, hopefully they get some confidence in putting the ball in the basket. It's one of those things where no one knows who needs to step up. We're almost looking for Alicia to step up all the time, and I want our freshmen to feel like they have the opportunity to do it as well.
Sydney Harvey had 13 points at half, only 4 in the second half. What did you do differently to her in the second half?
Well, we made Sydney a point of emphasis. We wanted to take away the paint and try and build a little bit more discipline on the defensive end by keeping our nose on the ball and keeping out the paint and trusting our help defense. We did a better job, and we thought that was the head of the snake in the first half, and we was able to slow them down in the second half.
Thank you, Coach. Good win.
Thank you very much.
All right, a big defensive stop for you guys on that last possession. What did Coach draw up?
He just drew up a play for us to, get in a 2-3. So we started out in a 2-2-1, and we just reverted into a 2-3 with high hands, and we just made sure we got the ball stopped and didn't let them get a 3 off.
Where do you get your confidence from, being just a freshman?
Just my ability. I'm confident in my ability, and I know that, I'm one of the best players in the conference. So, I'm just confident in my own ability.
8 different scores today for your team. How important is it to have balance offensively?
It's very important because we're going to need it along the stretch. We're going to need it for the second half of conference. So we need everybody to pick it up and, pick up their confidence as well so we can win more games.
Well, good luck in the rest of your games.
Thank you.
Austin, thank you again.
Angela.
Good to hear from Kayla as well as head coach Travis Mays. Big rivalry game coming up as they're going to get a little breather, but Groundhog's Day next Saturday. It'll be a trip to Houston. That is a rematch of Cougars' victory here in Dallas earlier this month. Then they'll head up to Tulsa. So road swing coming up for SMU. Congratulations to SMU. The Mustangs 46-44 hang on to the victory. A big block in the defensive stand courtesy of Marie Olsen to help preserve the victory. For Angela Beck, Austin Ivan, I'm Lincoln Rose. Big thank you to our entire American Digital Network crew in Dallas. We look forward to 3 games this upcoming week on ADN. Don't forget, tomorrow night, conference supremacy on the line on ESPN2. UConn and UCF tangle. Only one of them will improve to 7-0 and sole spot atop the standings.